Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. In this video, I'm going to be showing you Sheikh Ibn Uthaymin doing Taweel. Okay, in this video, we're going to analyze in his Sharh Aqeedah Waasitiya his definition of an attribute of amazement. Okay, so I'm going to show you the inconsistencies from these people from this camp, and this is the problem when you are stopped along your way of finding the truth and you get halfway and then they stop you and they scare you into looking deeper into things. This is what you get. You get an inconsistent Aqeedah. Okay, the reason why they always stop people from venturing further is because they know there's nothing, they have no substance to the arguments, and if anyone were to look critically will find many flaws in it, and this is a very good example of it. Okay, so you might have heard them. So the first point I'm going to make is about Taweel and Tafweed. Okay, you will hear them saying like, oh, Taweel and Tafweed, and this is bad, and you cannot do this, you cannot deviate from the apparent meaning of things, right? And they will consider it as ta'til, that whoever does this is doing ta'til, you are, or tahrif, or whatever. Okay, but they proceed to do it. You will find them doing it in many of their works. Okay, and they might not admit it, which is the point I'm going to make in this video. They will not admit it, but anyone that looks critically and wants to be consistent, you will find that they are doing exactly what they condemn. Okay, so in this video, you're going to see in this Sharh, this commentary on Aqeedah Waasitiya, he gave two definitions of amazement. So we're going to be looking at an attribute called amazement. So look at this. Concerning the affirmation of amazement and some other attributes, okay? So they affirm amazement, laughter, and many other attributes, okay? And remember, a couple of days ago, I made a video where I showed that you cannot ascribe emotions, literal emotions, to God. So in this video, we're going to get into all of that. So just stay tuned, guys. So now, that was the first point. They attack Taweel and Tafweed, and yes, they do it. But their followers, they cannot see this because they tell them to stop. They just tell them, oh, it's supposed to make sense. Now, another thing I'm going to show you in this video is that, okay, in the same line, in the same commentary, like after he gave these two definitions, after he gave it, do you know what he did? He attacked Taweel again. That, but we don't do Taweel. Okay, and I'm going to show you what you just did there. It is Taweel, whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not. I'm going to prove it to you. Okay, so he gave this like two prongs definition, where he will give one definition that they negate and then the other one that they affirm, and that's what we're going to get into. Okay, so the second point is amazing to who? Okay, we're going to get into that. So let's just read what he said. Okay, so the fourth is so they want to ascribe a particular sifa. Okay, what is the sifa? Amazement. Okay, for God. So look, now he knows, like, how can you ascribe that God is amazed? Like, that is problematic, isn't it? So he wants to defend this. So he said, amazement, it is to be astonished by a thing, and these are caused for two reasons. Okay, fine. The first reason, the unawareness on behalf of the one amazed of one of the reasons for the amazing incident, such as when something happens to him suddenly without any expectation. This is impossible with respect to Allah, exalted is He, because He is all-knowing. Nothing is hidden from God in the heavens and on the earth. Now, look at that definition. It's telling you that God cannot be amazed in the sense of being surprised or something happening suddenly to God. Why? He gave a justification for it. What is his reason? Because God is all-knowing. Okay? We can add, yes, God is all-knowing, and because God decreed it. Okay? So qadar and knowledge. God is all-knowing and God decreed it. It doesn't make sense for you to say God decreed something and then God is surprised when it happens. No, that is not okay. Let's not get into it. Anyway, let's start now. This is the second part. So he's negating this first one, that God cannot be like this, cannot happen to God. Okay, because God is all knowing, right? Now look at this second one. Secondly, that the reason of amazement is that this thing is outside what is normal for it and from what is appropriate for it. Not because of any incapability of the one that is amazed, such as him doing an action that is astonishing, whose like is not appropriate for him. Okay, this is affirmed for Allah, exalted is He, because such amazement is not as a result of an imperfection, but it is amazement because of the case of the one doing what is amazing. Okay, now this is when you read this, I'm sure the normal Salafi is like, wow, that is brilliant. Yeah, that's it. We affirm the literal meaning. We just do this two-pronged definition thing, and we negate one and we affirm one. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Okay, I will now get into it. Let's break it down. What it's saying here. The first problem I have with this, okay, before we even get to, okay, so this is it again, written out. I wrote it out, okay, but this is the first thing I want to mention is this, okay. Number one, look at when he's defining the second part. He's saying, look at this definition again. That the reason of amazement is that this thing is outside of what is normal for it and from what is appropriate for it, not because of any incapability of the one that is amazed, such as him doing an action that is astonishing. Okay, now we are going to get into it. Don't worry. The first one is when you start defining amazement. Okay, go and look at the definition yourself in the dictionary. Amazement entails a sense of surprise, okay, or being in awe or something. It has that. It is an emotion, okay. Amazement is an emotion, okay. It's an emotion that one feels either by surprise or you feel a sense of awe in what you have just observed, okay. That is what is amazement, literally. Now, if he's saying that it is not as a result of surprise, there you go. It's not literal anymore. This is literal, okay. The moment you deny surprise or any sense of being in awe of something, you've already denied the literal meaning. Now, the second definition he now gave. Here are now some questions I asked, okay? Here's from the quotes that you just read there. He said, this thing is outside what is normal or appropriate for it. What is normal for who? Okay? Is it God or the thing? Do you understand? Is it the thing that, what's it called? What are you talking about? When you redefine it this way, what is normal or appropriate for it? What do you mean by that? For who? So when God is observing something that is out of ordinary, extraordinary, is God amazed by that, or it is just extraordinary in relation to creatures? Okay, that's what we're going to get into. So, if not God, then God cannot be ascribed with literal amazement. That's the point. If it is not God that is in awe, like your redefinition can still bring you back to the first point, where God will still be surprised by something and in awe of something and leave him with a particular emotion. But if that's not what you mean, if it is not God that this normal appropriate rate is referring to, then you have done Taweel successfully. And there's nothing you can say. No matter what the dance you do is Taweel, okay? 100%. Look at another part of this same thing. Such as him doing an action that is astonishing. Astonishing to who? Okay? An act that is astonishing. Something cannot just be astonishing to nobody. It has to be astonishing to somebody. Is it to the creatures or to God? If you say it's astonishing to God, then you are back with the literal meaning, and then the surprise comes back. How is it astonishing? What do you mean it's astonishing to God? When God is all-knowing. Remember, you gave that reason. God is all-knowing. That's why he cannot be surprised. The same way, something cannot be astonishing to God if he's all-knowing and he decreed it. Do you see? So you cannot use that. It cannot be God. So it has to be not God. And then God cannot be ascribed with literal amazement, which is the point. You've already done Taweel successfully again. Now, let me now break it further for you guys. Let me show you what's going on here. With his definition, let me show you more what's going on here. With an analogy. So imagine a man, okay? He has a room. Now, in this room, he has two balls, okay? Oh, let's say he has like this kind of balls, and then he has this cone, okay? So he takes these things and he puts them in here. He arranges them, all of them in here. So he goes back. Now, that's the first case. Now imagine another man. He comes into a room. He doesn't know what's inside this room. So when he gets into the room, he finds something there that he didn't expect. So he's surprised. He's amazed. Like, who put these things here? Right? Let's say another man that didn't do this same thing, and then he finds the things arranged in here. So the man will say, he's not expecting anything, and then he comes in like, wow, look at who arranged this here. Like, how is all these things here? This guy is the one with literal amazement. Now, imagine someone now describing this man. Let's say he leaves, and then he comes back to the room, and then he sees the things he just arranged there, and he put there himself. Can you ascribe literal amazement to that person? Of course not. Now, let me even show you deeper. Let me show you deeper what this definition entails. It means that the extraordinariness, okay? So when something is extraordinary, because in the context of the hadith, it's talking about somebody, a slave that is praying, okay, that is changing or something like that. Let's say you do an act that is not normal. Let's say everybody is sinning and you decide not to sin or something like that. That is extraordinary. That's astonishing, right? But it's not astonishing to God. Because why? Okay, so let me now show you. So this man arranged everything inside his room himself. So when he got here, he now sees that this one is different from the other ones. Okay? So it's a fact. He can say, look, this one is actually different from the other ones. It's not literal amazement, because first of all, it's the one that arranged it, it's the one that put it there. Then secondly, the extraordinary or out of the ordinary or norm. Let's go back to the definition to see the kind of terms I use, okay? Look, outside what is normal for it and what is appropriate for it, okay? This triangle, this cone or whatever, is out of the ordinary of the other creatures. In relation to other creatures, is extraordinary because it's the only one with this shape and the other ones don't have that shape. Okay, but it doesn't mean it's astonishing to the one who created it and arranged it in a particular way and decided everything. And this is why you cannot ascribe literal emotions to God, because just like you said in the first definition you gave here, because God is all-knowing, and I think you should add, because God decreed it. Everything that will happen in creation, everything that's literally going on. So ascribing literal emotions to God is, what's it called? Self-refuting, and is deceiving, because you are doing Taweel, but you are not telling your people. That's why I'm justifying this title. Ibn Uthaymin, he does Taweel here. He will not admit it. Many Salafis won't admit it anyway. But he has left many confused, because the Salafis don't understand that what he's talking about is actually this. Like when he talk about something being extraordinary, out of the norm, he's actually talking about something just standing. Let's say a room with blue balls and then you have one red ball in there. That I am the one that put it there myself. How is that astonishing or amazing in a literal sense? It is not. It is not. So the moment you negate that first definition, is either you are being inconsistent and you're literally affirming it, because if the astonishment is in relation to God in the literal sense again, then you are back to square one. And you have ascribed surprise or something similar to God, an emotion. But if you mean that the thing, the creatures or the things described are the ones that are extraordinary in relation to each other, then you have done Taweel. And that's the point of the argument. I hope you guys understand. So the next time you want to discuss this with somebody, bring out this analogy I just showed you. This is the literal meaning of something being amazing or extraordinary. This one is the case that they are describing, if they want to be consistent with their definition anyway, because the amazement is the extraordinariness is in relation to other creatures, not to God. Therefore, God cannot be ascribed with literal amazement. Now, they might say one last thing before we end. They might say, you see, you can arrange something in the room, and then you come back and you're proud of what you just created. They can say that. What about that? That you can be in awe of something you've seen before. Here is the rebuttal to that. Only if your knowledge lapses. We human beings, when we see something, we don't usually maintain or preserve that image of the first time we saw it. When we go away from something, we lose, we forget. Human beings, we forget. We don't forget totally, absolutely, but we forget to a certain level, such that the next time we come to it, it will kind of be like it's happening all over again, new. But literally, we've forgotten a part of it. That's why it's amazing. That's why But if we don't lose that knowledge, if we never lack knowledge of the thing and it remains vivid in our mind, we cannot be ascribed with literal amazement, even us. So I hope you understand all these arguments, and I think the video is long enough. So what do you guys think in the comment section? See you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.